Trying to fix this so you don't see the thermostat. I feel like the thermostat's the worst thermostat in America. Like, do we not have enough money for a Nest? Are we that poor?
Old school, man.
God,
Too bougie.
I am pretty bougie. That's like hearing in the background the smoke alarm going off with the beep, the tick.
You don't want that
That's the
before
worst.
they come and make everybody go digital.
Oh, let's not even get into that yet.
Digital
Let's not
thermostats
jump into it like we did last
on
time.
the way.
Oh man. All right. Thank you again for another week for coming on and listening to us jabronis talk about the ridiculousness of what's happening in this country. I feel as though, honestly, I really do feel as though we're gonna have to take a break from the utter ridiculousness that's happening. I gotta take a break. So we're not even gonna talk about any news stories this week, but I'm not gonna jump into that quite yet. What I am gonna do is make sure that you go ahead and click on subscribe and listen to us every single week, 8 p.m. on Wednesdays. If you want us to see us, or if you want to see us twice a week, 3 times a week, you want to see that? Well, guess what? We're gonna need some people that are gonna donate to our podcast
3 times a week.
Right. I would love to see us 3 times a week.
Yeah.
Not gonna lie, it would take over the world.
Hey.
I forgot to say, let's change the world today. Let's change the world today. I think we're going to. I'm excited for our guests. I really am excited for our guests. But anyways, please welcome my cohorts, as always, Lavelle and Dan from the streets here. And Austin on the ones and twos. As always, I appreciate you all for coming on board this ridiculous train ride that we have been on for the past. What episode are we on now in total? How long have I been on air? Because it was a good 2 months before you guys came on. Before I had the episode with you, and then Dan came on.
Yeah, before that
June
setup. That's what that was.
episode 34.
Episode 34.
34.
All right, so once a week, 34. Oh man, we got to figure out what we're gonna do for episode 52.
How many of these episodes have I been tossed up on?
Your salad has not been tossed up on any of these episodes.
We are
Gross.
not going that route. I'm
Episode
talking about
34.
drinking,
Lavelle talks about being tossed up.
not salad tossed.
But before we get into the salad tossing, let's cheers to all of our listeners out there, all of the people out there who listen to us every single week. We appreciate you. We love you. Let's talk about things amongst friends and have a honest dialogue. That's what this is all about.
Salud.
Salud.
I'm gonna get some beer next time because it's other stuff, boy.
Nah, that's
You
not
just
as
get
fun.
you getting old.
It's not as
Yeah,
fun.
man, my liver
That's
is
what it is.
talking to me.
See, I got
like,
10
yo,
years before I'm to your point.
My liver is saying,
I know, for real.
dog
He's young.
Yeah,
He's young.
I was born in 91.
Before we get any further into this, how young this mother
What
effer
is wrong
is,
with you, man?
I want to apologize to Wegmans.
Uh-oh.
I want to apologize to Wegmans for what these guys over here said during their podcast. They degraded the beautiful Wegmans and how
What happened?
amazing they are
You got the wool pulled over your eyes.
at everything.
Yeah. You're sipping
Listen.
that Kool-Aid.
Wegmans is the culmination of everything that is. Oh, Austin wants to get on this. Look at it. Get in the middle. You got something to say already, or are you waiting for?
Yeah, no, I'm here.
Okay.
I'm slightly
So
on
y'all
Let's
camera.
get-
ready
let's get
for
the-
it?
the cousins
wanna-
in the
I
video.
want to know because
The cousins in video. These guys
Hagedorns
talked
and
down
tops.
about Wegmans earlier in their podcast, and I gotta say,
What?
I took something to it.
Hagedorns and tops for life.
Oh hell no! Oh hell no! All right,
Wait,
I don't know anything about
wait,
Hagedorns
so
though. I don't know what
Anybody ever
Hagedorns
plugged
is.
tops ever?
No.
Ever?
No,
No, that's
Tops
that is
never
so-
stop.
that is
No.
solely Austin's opinion. I'm not going to tell you my
Tops
favorite
never
grocery store.
mops.
Wegmans is the
Look at the floor.
look at the floor. Tops is the greatest gift to Rochester since Kodak.
Tops?
I'm sorry, Wegmans.
Yeah, I'm
My
about
God.
to say,
Sorry.
what the
Exit that.
fuck,
Can you
Jose?
cut that out? Are we live still?
Tops.
Are we live still?
Tops.
Wegmans is the greatest thing to Rochester since
Yeah, man.
Why?
Kodak.
Why? Quantify it
Because
for
it
me,
is
because I think
the
you're
culmination
ludicrous.
of everything that is beautiful in America.
Yep.
That you can start from a fruit stand. and make it. We might have to bring our guests on immediately.
And
because
100% sell out and sell oranges for $9. Yeah,
hold on,
that's what it is.
no. You're not selling oranges for $9. And I know you
cater
guys
to the
brought this up in your
middle-class white
podcast.
women.
You're saying you're paying for the ambiance. You're paying
Yes,
for the
you
Yes,
are.
you are.
No, you're not. No,
Your
you're not.
boy said
No,
it.
you're not.
Oh, wait, hold on.
Have you ever been to Walmart and asked for? Can you show me where the bullets are?
Oh, wait. Well, you're
And
talking
then
about.
get there, and
you're
there's
talking
nobody
about-
sitting there waiting for you to.
Hear me out. Hear me out.
Bro,
There's a balance. There's a
I get
balance
heated
with the
about this. I hate
ambiance.
Walmart,
There's a balance about the ambiance because I will say,
but it's the number of employees.
yeah,
You pay for
but
the
we're
number
talking
of
about the
employees that
product
help
too.
you.
We're talking about the product too.
Ain't nobody care
No,
about the product. You're not paying for the product.
Wegmans produce.
You're not paying for the products.
It's usually supposed to be second to none, but sometimes they be slacking a bit because I spend a lot of time in that section and I be pissed off
Okay.
when you know what I mean. I bring some shit back in this
Okay.
Wilkes and I'm like, yo, Wegmans, we're better than this.
Okay,
We are better than this. But I would never get produce from Tops.
never.
Damn sure won't go to
poultry
Walmart
or
Fuck,
meat.
I don't know where Walmart pulling their shit from.
Yeah. I go to
know what I
Aldi's
mean?
before. Walmart.
So now, but when you go to when you talk about the ambiance, right? I do go to Wegmans for the experience.
You go for the ladies in the yoga pants. We know why you.
that too. That too.
Well, okay, let's talk about the experience in general because there is an experience
There's
in
an
general
experience,
that you
yes.
get because
Yes.
you don't get people in there in pajamas in freaking what's the SpongeBob SquarePants pajamas
I'm wearing those next
Yeah.
week. for
Right.
you.
Crocs
with tank
and-
tops
yeah.
with side titty there down to your freaking belly. I'm sorry, but you don't get that at Wegmans.
But
You don't get it
Oh, you too good for side titty?
down to your belly.
Well, whatever. It's a long stem rose.
Long stem rose.
that is blasphemous.
I
though.
don't
It's
feel
from
as
Rochester.
though I
That's what
have to
Carolina-
clean myself when I go to Wegmans.
I agree.
I also, if I don't know where something is, let's say I go for, we make coquito here in
Mhm.
Puerto Rican land. We make coquito, as you have all tasted.
Yes, it was very good.
It's the worst night of my
The
life.
worst night of everyone's life, really. That was one of the worst episodes we had.
We all got COVID.
We all got COVID. We were all sick the next day. It was a long night. I was
We all had
sweating
the
on
vid,
camera. It was a whole thing.
Fuck that.
That's a whole
I'm
thing.
still vidless. I ain't had the vid yet. Fuck
But
that.
because you wore a mask,
That's
Hey.
true.
he wore the mask. His social experience. I'm pretty sure he was the one that gave it to us. So I'm still pretty certain. About
Hey,
that.
didn't that shows the mask didn't work?
True. The social experience actually proved right.
Proved right.
But
Fuck it.
getting coconut, I'm sorry, was it coconut milk or is it coconut something? It's coconut crema de coconut,
Right.
crema de coco. You can't
Roll
find
that
it
R.
except for in Wegmans or Price Right.
Yeah.
And to go to Price Right, you have to go
You gotta go deep.
Driving Park and Dewey.
Yeah, no thanks.
Right, you're not going there.
I lived there.
Driving Park and Dewey do have a very nice price, right?
It is a very nice Price Right. You can get things for real cheap.
Yeah, very good. Very good.
And
price.
look, we need that because Wegmans used to be there.
They used to be there.
But then they got broken into.
Yeah,
way too many
no, they were
times.
smart. They said, "Oh, you motherfuckers are gonna keep robbing us every day, man." Like
They donated it
they saw
to
it.
the
It's
city
like,
of Rochester.
listen, y'all. Driving Park and Dewey Ave.
I can't laugh. That's my
It's a-
district. You
It's
can't
a
laugh
hot
at that.
spot over
It is
there,
hot.
man.
It is hot though.
Dewey is hot.
When I had my cell phone shop there, I had a cell phone shop. Did you guys know that? I had three
That
cell
makes,
phone
that makes
shops.
sense. Cricket.
And no, Boost Mobile.
Oh, even
Ooh.
worse.
Boost Mobile. There was a guy that always came in with a bag from Family Dollar full of stuff. We're talking, Family Dollar stuff. We're talking about soap that you would normally
Mhm.
deodorant. And I'm like,
Irish
Just
Spring.
trying to flip them
Man,
things,
dude,
man. Yo, man, I got this Irish Springs 250,
Heck yeah.
250 a box.
that guy would come in. The other guy with the DVDs, the bootlegs,
Oh man,
every single day. And
you
then
can't be doing that at Wegmans.
you
You
can't
can't
do
be
that
doing
with
that
us.
around
No,
there. You can't do that
You
shit.
can't do that. Danny would have a fit.
Danny, listen.
Danny would
don't
have a
give a
fit.
damn about you.
Danny said, pull all the
Or
Wegmans
you.
out.
Danny
Or
cares a
you.
little bit about me.
He
Nah.
said, fuck that.
A little
Danny
bit.
don't care.
We are not, no.
Danny has no idea who I am.
Danny's
That's
sitting,
not one
sitting
bit.
down there on Canandaigua Lake. He ain't in New York.
He's
anymore.
doing all right with his
Mm.
Ferrari that he let a kid
Good
drive
for
in his
him.
parking lot.
Good for him. And you know what? It just kind of the reason why you have to respect Wegmans. And it doesn't matter what they do. Don't matter how they just get us every time. When you just walk in and you smell
It's
all the,
capitalism, man.
you know what I
It's
mean? I get it. I love
capitalism.
it. Right. So, when you hear stories about how they came up, you Gotta pay homage, man.
No, there's a difference between respecting Wegmans for the capitalist empire that they've built themselves into,
Right.
and then loathing in your core going to the
Jeez.
store
My God.
because
Damn.
so I just went in there 2 weeks ago, right?
Okay.
Right when the mask mandate ended. Man, the looks I got. I didn't wear a mask in there.
I've never worn a mask in Wegmans. I've never
never.
once.
You're also a minority.
I never have.
It's everything that's wrong with
They're not gonna say nothing to you.
right.
Oh, is that what it is?
Right.
That's
Well,
100%.
they
I thought
probably
it was
just
'cause
thought
I
I was
smiled
too
all the
poor to
time.
afford a mask.
That's probably what it was.
They just said,
Well,
you probably can't afford it. It's okay.
He doesn't know how to put one on.
Well, it's
We gotta show him.
Because I don't have internet.
It's the middle.
You know,
Because I don't have
right.
internet to get my ID.
That's right.
I don't have data on my cell phone in order to go to the DMV
On
website.
your Boost
I don't know
mobile
how it's going to
phone.
my Boost mobile cell phone. Jeez.
Well, yo, there's a story that I heard that Danny Wegman's daddy used to spray water onto his fruit during the high noon time, just so that it will look
Glisten.
shiny, it'll glisten.
Yeah.
The spraying all on
You're
that's
not
just
paying for the product.
yeah,
bro.
you're
You're paying for the sizzle.
Right, it's
Right?
just all
You're
a
not buying
show.
the steak. You're buying the
It's
sizzle.
a show, so go there
Oh, man, wake
to
up.
be amazed and walk out broke as fuck.
This is 100% the point that I made.
Like, who cares
But,
about?
but you're downing it while we're approving of it.
Yeah,
Yeah, because I'm not a sucker.
I don't care.
He
Listen,
called you a sucker.
if Wegman said that
Yeah,
they're
no
gonna,
ER, just an A.
if Wegman said, listen,
He's jumping
Look,
in.
Tops never mops, but I don't care because the fruit doesn't cost me an arm and a leg.
that's that you know what? That's
He also bought a
fine.
sumo wrestler orange.
Hell yeah.
Listen,
Listen, we
I'm-
support the
I'm
Wegmans.
going bougie.
He's
listen,
going bougie.
Wegmans can tell me, you know,
They
our
pre-cut it
everything
though. You can buy
bread.
it in a pre-packaged, pre-cut container. In Wegmans, you can
Yeah.
go get a watermelon.
Do they also
that's
make toilet
pre-cut.
paper that
That
you know
is
what's
that's
your
the bougiest shit
Nah, bro.
that I love doing because
Pre-cut onions.
pre-cut, yeah, that shit is bougie, and I don't care. I don't got
Hell
time.
yeah, I don't care.
Don't want to get
Don't
my
care.
fingers all smelly today.
Don't care. I'll pay $5 for that $1 coconut that you freaking cut up for me.
Donuts can go $2 a donut. So what? I know Wegmans got great donuts.
Mm.
That day, I'm
Mm.
treating myself to a $2 donut.
I'll tell you
That
what I
means
love
it's
about
more
Wegmans.
expensive, and it means it's much better.
They're flowers. You go to the flower department, and I can create my own bouquet. I'm like, yo, I want that one with that one. You woman over
that's
there.
because you live in Monroe County. I walk out in the field where I live.
Oh.
Y'all still
And I
got
pick
Big
my
M
own
out there, huh?
No, they
I
got Hagedorns.
Save a lot.
Save
What is
a
this
lot.
Hagedorns?
Oh,
You said
that's
Hagedorns. What is that?
definitely-
Hagedorns in Monroe County.
What is that? Webster?
Yeah, it's just a local Webster mom and pop shop.
All right, I'm not hitting on Hagedorns. I just have no idea what you're talking about.
Oh, I love Hagedorns. Everyone shop at Hagedorns. If you're in Webster, shop at Hagedorns.
I'm not
Hey,
telling
was
people.
that a
Plug.
Can we get Hagedorns to freaking
Sponsor the show
Sponsor
right
this,
here.
right.
Hagedorns. Hey,
Jeez.
we just found
They're
out
struggling.
today.
I wanna-
They're struggling. You know what? For that,
Let's go.
I'm a man of capitalism. Hagedorns, if you need some help, let us know.
Mm.
We're gonna help you out. We'll come and do a show at your Hagedorns.
Let me ask you a question. Let me ask everyone here a question.
Everyone, including the guests?
including our guests.
Why don't you introduce him first?
Yeah, let's bring
Yeah,
our guys because
yeah,
I believe that he does have
Because we're using these words, right?
Uh-huh.
Capitalism, and then we're gonna talk about socialism. We're gonna
Oh,
talk
yeah.
about communism. We're gonna talk about all the isms in the
All your favorite stuff.
right. Like, why does capitalism, when people say it in a sentence, like, and they're trying to, badmouth it, they like it seems like they don't know what it means.
They can't say
You're right.
that. They can't say
absolutely
that
don't
to
know what
me
it
at
is.
all.
Really?
They absolutely don't know what it is.
So let's bring in our guest. Is the video on? Yeah, it is. All right. So we got Luis Gonzalez here. Luis
Yes.
Gonzalez.
Martinez.
I'm sorry. Hold on.
That's Martinez.
Hold on.
You're thinking
Autocorrect. My time. My bad. Oh my
You said,
god.
That's-
wrong.
It's
That's racist.
Wrong.
That's totally racist. Oh my
Elian
god.
Gonzalez.
I am like
no.
Alien
Wrong.
Gonzalez.
Yes, we gotta talk about that too.
Hold on, because I'm really
Man.
upset at this.
All those Latinx are Gonzalez's, am I right?
Oh my god. I am embarrassed right now. I cannot believe.
Woo.
Hold on, I'm gonna rewrite this and see if it autocorrects back to.
Well, he's doing
Gonzalez.
that. Did you
Go
know
ahead.
that they?
People who owe money, that's all.
Ooh, right. Oh.
Do you know they have a? So how they say like Latinx, right, or Latin?
No one says Latinx.
No, right. I know
No one does, except for this asshole over here.
I know nobody says it, but do you know they have one for women too? It's like with women instead of an A in women or woman,
Mhm.
it's an X. Minx.
Wominks.
Because
No, it's just the same thing. Just
yeah,
an
right. It's
accent thing.
pronounced woman, but it's so that when it's written, it's not because it's supposed to be
But why?
inclusive. My point
Oh,
exactly.
so the X, does it take over the E in men? Women?
Yeah, right. Yeah. So instead of because then it's not. I don't know.
I'm
Talk
sick
about
of
our
this
guest. I'm done with it.
Luis
But I-
Martinez.
There you go. That'll work.
Martinez.
Jeez Louise, I apologize for that.
He's Luis. Yeah. There you
Yeah,
go.
I
Another
actually
good
do
one.
know him in real life.
Yeah.
This is not our first time meeting.
Right. All of the
Good
fucking
Lord.
coffee.
My
you
bad.
can just-
Luis, you have insight into some of this that we're talking about here.
Mm.
So did you have a question for him? Because you wanted to bring him on.
Whoa, yes,
immediately.
Of course. We again, capitalism, right? It's a word that gets used anytime.
It's a hated word right now.
It is, but it seems like capitalism gets destroyed when socialism comes right after. And anytime socialism comes right after, you have dictatorships and failure in government. So
Nothing positive. is what you're saying.
nothing at all. So, and not even just for our guests, but everyone, but our guests. And I don't even want to take away from just the 2 minutes of a discussion we had about where you come from and what you've witnessed with your own eyes. Within today, when you hear people bring up capitalism and capitalism is this, that's capitalism.
When I hate on it.
Right. They want to hate on it. What does you would, with your experience, how do you kind of, register what you see here in a country that is, I would say better than what it was in Cuba, right? I mean, it's
Yeah,
America.
we're gonna go ahead and say it's better than Cuba.
yeah, we can.
I'm gonna
right?
say it.
Right.
But you give us the insight of what you think.
So when you see this now at your age, like, do you get worried? Like, you say, what the fuck is going on?
I'm not worried because it's not going to happen because everyone you see, everyone without exception, and I mean that 100%, is a capitalist. Name one socialist, anyone.
AOC.
Bernie Sanders.
Yeah.
Except not really.
You have never seen a socialist because in the United States, they don't exist. They talk about socialism for thee, but not for me. All the people you mentioned, Bernie Sanders, he's a capitalist. AOC, she's a huge capitalist.
Yeah,
Just look
$80
at what she wears.
sweatshirts.
Right.
Flying to
So the
Florida.
point is that socialism. What is it about? What's the difference between socialism and capitalism? First of all,
Well,
Taking money away from businesses to distribute out to the masses
Government
by
intervention.
government intervention.
right?
Mhm.
So what does socialism build?
Nothing.
Poverty.
Thank you.
That
Mhm.
too.
Because all it does is redistribute somebody else's
Mhm.
wealth, somebody else's
worked for it.
product, who worked for it. Okay,
Mm.
so it doesn't. So socialism doesn't create anything. What socialism
No.
does is redistribute what somebody else built,
Right.
and then that works well until you run out of other people's wealth and money and so forth, and you end up with what you have in Cuba and Venezuela and all the other places that where it's
That they tout.
that they tout for success. And then they say, oh, no, but they just didn't get it right. No, there's only one. There's just no way to get to socialism. I'll tell you exactly where socialism lives and where it dies, which is in every home in America, in every home in the world. I'll explain to you exactly how socialism thrives and dies all in the same time. I mean, in the same place over time. When you're born, who takes care of you? Your parents, of course. Okay. You're totally, as a baby and even as a young adult, you're still totally dependent on your parents. But your parents have to do something in order to feed you and clothe you and house you and so forth. Okay. What happens when you become of working age, 13, 14, in some societies as early as 10, 12, or in
You
poverty?
kick them out the house and make them get their own job.
Thank you very much. Okay.
Mhm.
So the socialism breaks down as soon as the person can think for themselves, as soon as the young person can think for themselves. That's from the inside out. From the outside in, the parents say, it's time for you to go help produce for us, because the parents eventually become older and the children. So socialism lives and dies in every home in the world without exception. Now you can name some obscure tribe in the middle of nowhere and they're eating banana leaves, and you tell me, oh, well, that's socialism. Okay, fine. Look how they live. Okay. So the point is that any advanced society, by that I mean people who can read and write and produce something, is a capitalist society if it's going to work. because if it's not capitalist, it doesn't work. So then people say, oh, well, Denmark, Sweden, false, fraud. Those are capitalist organizations. Okay.
Mm.
So when you go to IKEA, you just went to a Finnish company, a company made in Finland. So it's a capitalist company in Finland. Actually, the guy, I think, took his wealth to another country. I forget where, because they wanted to. So
Way to
what
do
you
it.
have, so it's, well, we have socialism in New York City. You have high taxes in New York City. I was in Canada in 2019 to watch the Formula One race. I happened to be sitting in the bleacher behind a man who had emigrated from the islands, I forget which island, to Canada. What was he complaining about? The taxes, the
Mhm.
taxes, and the taxes. The excise tax and the what do you call it? The tax on sales and so forth, the sales tax and so forth. So basically, they pay very heavy taxes. Oh, but they get free healthcare. Right, you get what you pay for. So if you get free healthcare, then you get whatever free healthcare looks like, and you define it. Okay. So
we're
there
not
you
going to
go.
do anything with that leg
Right.
there.
So I have a friend. So I'll give you another example. I have a friend he was actually my client. I was working in Buffalo for my client, and my client was he was an African American who from the Buffalo area who married a Canadian lady. It took him years to be able to become a Canadian citizen so they could live in Canada. And then
Wait, hold on. He was from America.
Yes,
fuck is wrong with
he's a
him?
great
Getting
And he
married.
chose Canada?
and he chose to. Well, you have to see the lady, but anyway, he chose
Yeah.
to
Chose to get married.
That's
Then
I'm
he
just
left
gonna leave
the
it there.
country. He
Just gonna leave it
two
there.
Fuck ups.
So then he goes to Canada and he marries her, and then you should see what they had to spend to buy a simple little like row house, just a row house, like $500,000, and this is years ago, for like a little row house, right? Like
So that's a whole
so then-
farm.
yeah. So then,
Hell
so my point is, guess what this guy did? He used to come to work every day from Toronto, from somewhere in the, to Buffalo every day, back and forth, And he bought all his cars in the United States, and somehow he
course.
figured it out so he could, because everything was so expensive right across the river.
Weird.
And then so what's the point? Where he has all the privileges of Canada now, and yet he comes to the United States to buy liquor, to buy gas, to buy cars, to buy everything. The only thing he couldn't buy here was a house.
He didn't have to denounce his nationality here.
I don't know that.
I feel like you
detail.
have to.
I-
Like,
I don't. Well,
like
I
you
don't know if
should,
have to. Right,
at
I don't know
least.
if you do. But that's a very good point. So people talk about Denmark, Sweden, all these places that are supposed to be socialist paradises. Okay, so how many Americans renounce their U.S. citizenship and go to any of those places, anywhere?
Remember all those people that said that if Trump won, that they were going to leave the
Right?
country?
They were gonna
How many left?
exactly. Okay, so thank you for that. Then let me give you the flip side of that coin. How many people have invaded the United States since Biden became president?
Oh, go down to the border.
Mexicans?
2 million. No,
Mhm.
Mexicans. They come from like 115 countries.
South American?
2
Mm.
billion.
Cuban? Yeah.
The United States of America is the only nation in the world that tolerates something like 22 million illegal aliens. No one else does.
Mm.
I could go on this one. So tell me what you want to know, because, for example, I can tell you about when I used to work in Mexico and I used to cross the border every day, how they checked all my papers every day at 8 o'clock in the morning. They made me get out of the car, checked all my papers and everything. And they knew who I was.
Mhm.
I've been coming there for months,
Mhm.
every day. And then I was sleeping in Texas and I was working in Mexico. But the point is that you can't just go across. You can't go to cross.
You can't do it at Canada.
So what
You can't do it at Canada. Rip your
Yo.
seats apart.
So what the fuck were these? They have to be direct, because these are the only motherfuckers that was bringing up the arguments, right? The whole relaxed immigration laws. Why do the people on the left push
Why do you
that?
believe? Why do you believe the people on the left?
Well,
Because he doesn't speak for the people on the left.
I'm not saying, I'm just saying, why do you believe? Like,
Do you think there's an end game there?
why?
Oh yeah, the end game is to transform the United States so that
Into what?
anybody can vote into something that keeps people subservient to the federal government, so that then they keep voting them back into office. And so
Okay,
they
but
have
why?
perpetuity. So they it's about
But
control and
why? Like,
perpetuity.
what is the end game? If we all
Control
know
forever.
that, okay, control, fine.
Control, yeah.
But who controls?
the elites, who the collectivists. Let's give him a
Okay.
name, collectivists, because if you get
Mhm.
into Democrat, Republican, you lose half the audience.
Thank you.
This is anybody who believes in collectivism. Collectivism is a place where you go in and you can't get out. Okay.
Right.
And the point is that, or you become dependent on them. Okay.
It's a government down approach.
Yes, it's a top-down approach. I had this conversation literally with an RIT professor. I said to him, I asked him,
Oh, God.
I discuss things by the Socratic approach. I ask people questions. Okay. So this guy is going on about something like private property and socialism.
I'm
all
scared of this
fun and
conversation
okay?
that you had.
No,
at
no, I mean, just
RIT,
listen.
professor.
Well, I mean, this is a guy, people pay
Out of
tuition
his
to listen
realm.
to this man.
Yeah.
So people pay tuition to listen to this man. And I asked him
Right.
a very simple question.
A man from America.
Yeah, he lives right here in Rochester somewhere.
Okay.
So I asked him, who exactly is responsible for your personal welfare? Who exactly? And he thought about it and he said, well, it depends on what country you live in. Now, let me, going back to what you said about this is a top-down thing. For him, life is top-down. The elites in power and what they let you do and what they don't let you do, and what they take care of for you and what they don't take care of for
Right.
you. Whereas the answer is, the right answer is, because I'm a divine sovereign individual, I'm divine in the sense I was created by God, sovereign in the sense that I'm independent, okay, and an individual in the sense that I'm not a collectivist, okay. So I have a direct personal responsibility to God first and foremost, okay, and then to everything else in sequence later. The last thing that I care about is the government, because first of all, they work for us.
That's also the last thing I care about.
Okay, it's because they work for us. I don't work for them. They work for us. I have worked, by the way, before you get too far, I have worked for a total of 5-6 years for both the federal and state government. So I have worked in the United States federal government. Okay, and I've also worked in Delaware in state government. The point is that I understand what it's like to work for the government, and there's nothing wrong with being a government employee in any way, shape, or form. However, there are people who take advantage of that, politicians, or high-handed regulatory. No, what I'm saying is high-handed regulatory. The collectivist politicians, who take over a regulatory agency, and some of them, and then they overrule, they overreach, they overreact to current situations, and then they
Trudeau.
use their control. They use what they have by way of control to then impose it on others. Okay, so I'll call that a collectivist. Okay, and I don't care what party they're from. I don't care, their political leanings. The fact is that they believe, to net it out, they believe in top down, like that professor who thinks that depending on where you live, you can decide whether you're really responsible for yourself or not, or somebody else is.
Right.
He really fervently and sincerely believes that, and he votes that way. Remember, this man votes in favor of collectivism and collectivists. The people who should solve your problems and also make it the way for you,
And tax you for it.
and tax you for it. Yeah, I mean that's
Joe
where-
Biden said he was going to come and save everybody from Trump. Hey man, just vote, man. Just vote for me, and he'll go away. He'll just go away. Yeah,
That's a terrible,
yeah.
terrible Joe Biden.
It's awful.
Yeah, that was
Terrible.
bad.
I'll work on it next time. But
Well,
I will
You
ask.
gotta work on that one.
I will. I just want to ask. A lot of the things that you're talking about, collective
Collectivism.
politicians. How did Castro get that much power?
Yeah,
like,
because
who
it
was backing
seems like
him?
people automatically believe that he just came out of nowhere
Yeah,
and that he said, "Fuck everybody.
Yeah.
This is how it is."
No, it was in stages, but it didn't take very long. It took like a matter of a couple of years from 1959 to, and I have to tell you that I was about 10
How old were
years old.
you?
I was about 10 years old when there was a revolution going on, an armed revolution of people fighting each other with weapons. Okay, so it wasn't like some.
So it got to the point that it was an armed
totally.
revolution where they
Totally.
will take arms against their own government to say,
Yes.
"No,
So-
we're not doing this."
So this is what it looked like. It looks ridiculous now, but when you look back on it, but this is what it would look like. It would look like
It doesn't
a
look
group of
ridiculous, I'm not gonna
people- It looks like a group of people with some makeshift weapons and whatever would go to say the Adirondacks and would fight the federal government and win. That's what happened in Cuba. Okay, a group of people, Castros, went over to the eastern end of the island, and
That's what they're called, Castros.
no, they call rebeldes, the rebels. Okay,
Okay.
los rebeldes, the rebels went They followed Castro when he was only about 33 years old at the time.
But
by the way.
why? Why did they follow
Because
him?
because we had corruption in Cuba. Everybody has corruption. If you go
Puerto
to New
Rico
York
has
City,
corruption.
you have corruption. If you go to Las
Right.
Vegas, you have corruption. Look at the corruption in LA.
New York.
for Pete's-
Ooh.
You ain't
in
gotta
New
go.
York City.
You ain't gotta go that
Right.
far. Rochester.
Right.
Our mayor.
Corruption, right? Okay.
Yeah.
So you name the city, there is corruption.
Right.
Okay? So this, and there was corruption in Cuba, and the previous president, but Batista was the president who threw a military coup. He had taken over office. Okay, so Batista's a dictator in the sense that he doesn't allow real democracy. He doesn't really allow voting and so forth. So Castro becomes someone to follow. Okay. So it took several years, and within about 8 years, from about 1953 to about 1959, he wins the war, literally a war, and January 1st, 1959, and he takes over the country. So he comes as a revolutionary. I have to quickly add that my mother was the oldest. Her brother and sister were armed revolutionaries with Castro. I can show you photographs of them with the rifles and everything like that. They came down from the mountains as the winning rebels, literally, okay, into my house, into my yard. There are pictures of my aunt and uncle in the revolutionary gear in my mother's house.
For Castro.
With Castro, yeah. They came down with Castro. They won the war. The
Right.
rebels won the war, okay?
Your own family.
My family, exactly. So I can speak firsthand, not as a revolution. I was only 10 years old, but
Right.
I can speak
From what
I
you saw.
and what I experienced there. Okay, so that was January 1959. I'm going to the question about when did he take over everything. By 1960, there were still you still have free enterprise. So there were still the Havana Hilton and Coca-Cola and Shell gasoline and all that. Everything just like the United States. Cuba actually had TV stations, and my uncle was a photographer at one of the TV stations. So Cuba was like the United States. Actually, Cuba had one of the best standards of living in the Western Hemisphere and even in Europe. Okay, so Havana was a beautiful city.
Sounded like paradise.
So if Cuba still existed, you wouldn't hear Las Vegas wouldn't, because Havana was the place to go before Vegas and all that.
So Jay-Z
And,
told us.
Right. So all of this within a matter of 2 years, Castro, like I was saying before we started the program, I said in August 8th, 1961, Castro did what Trudeau did, except he did it for everybody. He froze all the bank accounts overnight, and then he changed the currency overnight so that when you went to the bank with the old currency and traded it in for the new currency, you only got $100 back.
All right, hold
They
on.
kept all the
Say
money.
that over again from the beginning.
Okay.
He froze
Everybody's account.
everyone's accounts.
Yep.
No matter what.
Yep.
No matter if you were against him or for him.
Doesn't matter.
Froze it.
Yeah. Yep.
Said, nah, we're just gonna go ahead and change this
Yes.
into a Cuban.
A different currency, and
Based on what, though?
Because he wanted to, because he had the control. So he instead of having the for example on the currency, instead of having the pictures, the photographs, so to speak, or really for the artwork
Right.
of previous like it would have been the equivalent of Washington and Lincoln, Jefferson,
Presidents.
and so forth, the presidents and the patriots.
Mm.
He changed all of that to new, like call it woke presidents and patriots and everything like that.
Woke.
Yeah. So it's a word you understand. So imagine putting AOC's picture on the
Let's
$10
not do
bill,
that.
and Bernie
Let's
Sanders
On
and
a
all
New
that.
York dollar.
Right.
Yo,
So
Al
they
Sharpton.
did that. So then when you go to the bank to trade in your old currency for the new currency,
Uh-huh.
they give you back 100 and they keep the rest. So basically, he stole everybody's money, cash. That's cash. Now, he
What about those who were retired?
That
We're
doesn't
getting
matter.
government
It doesn't
subsidy.
matter. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. See, here's the thing. We think like you just did logically. Well, what?
That's
what about
that's my
this or that?
problem. I think logically.
You think logically. They don't. Control is everything. Nothing.
Control is everything.
Control
It
is
sounds
everything.
like fucking today.
right. So control is all.
Does
that
it sound
matters.
like today though?
A lot?
Does
So,
it?
for example, yeah, a lot.
Okay.
Well, what Trudeau did is exactly what that looks like, except
All right, so
Trudeau
that was
only did it to the truckers. But imagine doing it across the country, across the nation.
So it doesn't
He-
matter if you're a trucker or not in
Right,
Canada. Let's
yeah.
just go ahead and cancel everything.
So then what? So that was at the cash level, at the individual level.
Mhm.
What Castro did that day too was he nationalized all industry. So at that time,
God.
like the Bank of America, I remember my father had the Trust Company of Cuba. I remember that. That's where my father used to bank. And then there was, like Shell gasoline, and there was Sinclair gasoline, and there was it
Did he
was-
take that over? It would
he just bo- yeah he
Yeah,
just
it's just
stole
ours.
it. He
It's
just
ours
stole it.
now.
It's ours now. Yeah, get out of here. So that's called intervention. He intervened in every business, and he started with the big ones. He started with the things like what you
Right.
call now Exxon. It used to be Esso gasoline, and of
Yeah,
course Shell
it
is still
was.
Shell. Yeah, Esso gasoline is now Exxon, but it's the same thing. Mobil didn't exist at the time. But the point is that he started with like the big American companies and United Fruit Company. All of this, he just overnight he just intervened, meaning he went into the board and said, "You all out of here. I got my own team." He installed his cronies in there.
Did he
And
give
they
him
run
time to
everything.
escape out of Cuba?
Well, some people had done that already.
had
'cause
money,
yeah,
yeah.
if they had money, they got the next plane out. But the thing is that he did that like overnight in August of 1961. Okay?
Jeez.
I was still there. I watched it happen, and and then of course immediately talk about supply chain problems. Immediately, since nobody
Oh
gets
my
paid to
God.
do anything, everything comes to a grinding halt. The train stopped. Not like slow down, not like over here. Not
Yeah, just
it
wasn't
stopped.
existent.
Because suddenly, what's it worth for? I mean, why should I go to work? Because I don't work for what I used to work. I work now for the government. Who are they? You know what? And everybody just stopped. And it doesn't matter to him, them, the collectivists because
They them.
they
They,
them.
them.
Yeah, it doesn't have matter to them.
Well, let's turn it on a different perspective then. So maybe he believed that they could just do it on their own. Was that a bad belief?
It was a bad belief because nobody has ever been able to do it on their own. You
Right.
you need somebody who is willing to get up and go do something, not only for others but for themselves first. It's like it's very, very simple. Socialism fails the test of the oxygen mask in the airplane.
Right.
You have to get the oxygen on yourself first before you can help somebody else. Okay.
Mm.
But if you don't give the oxygen to yourself, you have a dependent next to you or something like that, both of you will die. Because you have to feed yourself first. You have
Yeah,
to have the
I
oxygen,
put that mask on
the
first.
sustenance, the production of goods and services for yourself, so that you can sell. It's like the question I asked the guy: who is responsible for your welfare? And he says it depends on what country you live in, because he's looking for the government to take care of him. No, it doesn't work that way. You have to create oxygen for yourself. You have to create your own sustenance. Then you can afford to have a family. Then you can afford, and everybody does that, and it works. You don't need a government for that. You just need to know that it's you or nothing, so you have to get up and do it.
So,
Mm.
in
And-
your belief, how could it have worked?
You can't.
It can't work at all.
No,
You
but
need to
name-
have government then.
no you government is a necessary tool to get things done. You can't
Okay.
build a hospital. You, Jose,
Right.
can't build a hospital.
No.
You can't build a bridge. You need a consortium of people to build something that's beyond your own scale. Okay. So in order to scale things out, you need help. That is true. But it's one thing to get together and work on a project and build a business or a bridge
Mhm.
or a hospital. It's another thing when you're compelled to work only for that and against your will. And then you have to work for the bridge when in fact you're really a healthcare technician.
So it's not
and you don't-
just needing outside help. It's needing to understand that you are building something for the greater good, meaning you
Right.
can actually get something out of it. Because my biggest thing is
Yeah.
Puerto Rico.
Right.
Like, right, we're still a Commonwealth of the United States of America, which means essentially we are still slaves to America. I don't care
Mhm.
how anybody else sees that. I see it as Puerto Rico is still slavery to America, which is a problem to me. So if Puerto Rico were to ever think about what Cuba did, right? Is there ever kind of a way out of that? Or does it require America to be able to be involved in what you're doing? Like it seems like there's no out.
Yeah,
Like it
doesn't-
requires something bigger.
Well, yeah, no out. The way out is for people to be able to do what they want to do with the way they know how to do it.
And living the
Which
way
is-
that they
Yeah.
are
I mean,
used to.
Go back. I mean, just go back 2,000 years. What did people do? They were tent makers. They were shepherds, and they
Mhm.
were carpenters, and
Mhm.
they were,
and they
worked-
traded.
and they traded what they traded. They bartered.
Right.
They were currency didn't really quite exist at the time and all, but they bartered. Whether you're whether you know how to chisel stone, or whether you know how to make tents, or whether you know how to make garments, and all of those things were crafts that people had at the time, and we still do it today. It's sophisticated craft, but it's craft. So whatever craft you have, you put that to work either by bartering, or you get a more sophisticated society. You have currency instead of barter, which is very very not effective, sufficiently effective for things, like building a house even. So you can, so it starts with the individual gifts, with the individual's willingness to work. Some people work better than others. Some people don't work so fast. There is a reason why Christ said, the poor you will always have with you. There are many reasons for that. One of them is not everybody works the same way, and as well as others. And that's a fact of life. And you have it in your own family. You've seen your own family. You see people.
This is
in
the
your own
parable of
extended-
talents.
Yeah, I mean, exactly the parable of the talents. Thank you very much. So you see people in your extended family. I'm talking about like my family is 4 generations deep, and it's dozens and dozens of people, and you can see across the people who have become millionaires and the people who are still struggling. To some degree, it is their own doing or not doing. I know
To
a guy-
some degree.
to some degree, because other things. I mean, if you have a physical or mental disability, then obviously there's a reason why.
Right.
But apart from those things that are not, that are once
Within
you're-
your
if it's within your power to go out and do something, then it's up to you to go out and do something. But some people believe, oh no, we'll let the government take care of that person. Well, to some degree that works too. For example, there's an excellent organization here in Monroe County called it used to be called the Arc of Monroe. It's got a different name now, but and I'm really my son used to work there, and I am really taken back by what that does. Very positive. Why? It strikes me because I used to have a sister long ago. She died when she was a baby, when she was about 7 years old. But she was developmentally retarded, or they don't use that word now, developmentally disabled, whatever. The point is that when we took care of her in the family in the United States here in Monroe County, there is an agency that helps you with that. Okay, so you're not alone as a family trying to take care of something like that. That's due to an advanced society that has sufficient wealth, that has sufficient funding for something like that, and that's a wonderful thing. But we got here, you see.
Mhm.
We didn't get here by socialism. We got here through capitalism that affords the wealth to create an agency that can be paid. People can be paid to take care of those people.
Gotcha.
And that
Right.
is a wonderful thing. Okay. But it required a wealth society.
Well, you've brought up a couple times the sovereign individual.
Yes.
Speak about that, because I don't think that many kids nowadays, let alone Dan's generation here, D generation, understands what that means. And I'm not saying Dan, obviously, because Dan understands it, or else he wouldn't be on this podcast.
Right.
But it seems like a lot of kids nowadays don't understand what that concept actually means. So can you speak on what does that mean to you?
Well, the way I phrase it is, again, I use that word, the divine sovereign individual, and our struggle as individuals versus the collectivists.
Right.
And because there are a lot of people, frankly, out there, I'm some of them are friends of mine in the sense that I've known them for years, who are very, very collectivist in their approach. They always resort, their default case is, let the government take care of this,
Right.
and then they want to
blows
elect
my
people.
mind.
Yeah, and then they want to elect people who will do that. And then, of course, they're electing other collectivists who think like they do. And I'm saying, wait. You got to exhaust all of your capacities and your work before you start leaning on others to assist you. Now, again, I can say that because I'm able-bodied and of sound mind and all of that, and it sounds rather selfish on
It
my
seems
part,
like
but
you
the point
are
is-
of sound mind.
Well, thank you. But my point is that the vast majority, I love standard distribution curves, and the vast majority of people, not just Americans, are in a normal distribution where some people are brilliant. We can think of Elon Musk and even people like Oprah Winfrey. They have a talent, they have a gift, they have something that other people don't have. Okay. You can sit up now. It's okay.
Oprah has cars.
Austin loves Oprah.
Oprah has cars. That's what it
Right.
is.
So my point is that that we can name all the people who are stellar in what they do.
Right.
Whether it's athletics or whether it's financials.
Winning
or whatever.
9 gold medals in one sport is
right. Those kinds of
supernatural.
things. Yeah. That's one extreme. And then at the other extreme, we have people like my little sister who never learned to speak, and who would have been, even if she was living now, she would have been 100% in someone else's care. In between, you have a huge, fantastic number of people who are able-bodied. So those people, each one of us is a divine sovereign individual. Now, those who can those of us who can take care of ourselves must take care of ourselves. Again, the oxygen mask comes to you first before you can start taking care of others. So it begins with you. Now, that and then I just add a little bit of flavor to it, which is I'm divine, meaning Imago Dei, which is I am made in God's image. We all are in God's image. I believe that. If you don't want to believe that, that's okay. But my point is that you are unique. You're unique and you're self-reliant, or you should be. You should think of yourself as being self-reliant. So that means I got to take care of myself. You have to take care of yourself, and then when you expand it to you care for someone else, your partner, you got to take care of your partners. You have children, you got to take care of your children, just like your parents took care of you. I mean, this has been going on since the world began. However, there's another group of people who believe that the collective is far more intelligent, far more efficient, far more effective than any of you. Okay. And it is the persons who believe that who are not happy with the divine sovereign individual, and especially very unhappy that the divine sovereign individual has a first and foremost relationship and responsibility to God, to your higher power, whatever you want to call him. They don't like that. The collectivist doesn't like that because now you're not paying attention to the collectivist, which is what they want, control. We know what's best for you, so just sit down, shut up, and obey. They really think like that. When a push comes to shove, that's why, every time I watch a show or something and they're talking about, well, look at the hypocrisy, this and the word hypocrisy gets thrown around constantly. And I said, well, you don't get it, do you? When you use the word hypocrisy to talk about somebody who doesn't obey what they say, you don't understand their playbook. You don't know where they're coming from. They don't owe you even the idea that they should even think about you. It's only them that count because they are the collectivists. They are the elite. They're the intellectuals. For example, and I'm just picking the most recent example, the mayor of New Orleans says everybody must wear a mask except she doesn't wear a mask in a party. That's been going on. You can name all your own
You just brought up something I did not want to bring up tonight.
Right. So
Try it.
My point is that
you're saying it.
There's a million examples like that.
Yeah.
You know what they all are. My point is, people say, "Oh, the hypocrisy."
Yeah.
What? And I'm serious.
It's overwhelming.
What makes you think that she thinks that she owes you an explanation? That's not how they think. They don't think like I'm sorry, I was worrying.
Do you guys know about this? Did you hear about this?
No.
It was another Democratic mayor that sits there and says, you cannot go out anywhere without wearing a mask. And then she goes and throws herself a freaking party, a Mardi Gras party.
Oh, Obama did it too after they did.
Right.
It was
Obama,
cool.
right.
Obama did it too.
All of them.
But the point is that I don't care what party they. Again, this is the collectivist mind.
I'm angry. I'm so angry about this.
So this is the collectivist mind. When you say the word to them, hypocrisy, they look at you like, what planet are you from? What makes you think that I need to listen to what you have to say or compare? Or what
is that where they're thinking? When I look at them like in disdain?
No, total disdain. They don't owe you anything. They're the collectivists. They're the elite.
crazy.
They're the ones that know better than anyone. That's
Right.
why they
So
behave
that's
the
the
way they
elite.
do. That's the elite. That's
Here we
why
go.
they behave that way, and they never apologize. What's there to
Never
apologize for?
once.
They don't feel insulted by the word hypocrisy. Like, what do you mean hypocrisy? What are you talking about? They don't owe you anything because they're the rulers. They are the collectivists. Okay. And I'm sorry to bring you bad news, but
No, man.
It's not bad
enjoy
news.
it. It's great news.
It's the real
crazy.
news.
Right. I'm glad you brought in, COVID a little. We try to do it.
COVID of the week.
COVID.
Let's go.
But I want to ask, because you have the experience of watching or being aware or consciously aware of a communist change within a country.
Yep.
A lot of the words that we use today, like compliance and, just like you were, just alluding to the collectivists, do you see a lot of those similarities today with a lot of these words?
Totally.
Mandating and
Totally. Yeah. I mean, it doesn't make sense. You could have, for example, let me give you a simple example. Okay. Tell me about the time that you saw the great debate, what I call the Super Bowl debate of, say, Fauci and Briggs and Walensky and them on one side, and then on the other side, all the people who have 180-degree opposite of medical and scientific opinion about what they said. Tell me about the time you saw that debate.
Never.
Of course. Now, so you might say, well, why don't they do that? And the collectivists will look at you and say, What makes you think I have to do that? What makes you think
Right.
I owe you an explanation?
Oh,
What
man.
makes you think that I have to explain anything to you? Just sit down, shut up, and obey. That's not communism. That's collectivism. And in the United States of America, that's actually fascism. How did fascism? Yeah, that's a word they don't like. See, everybody's through. That's really getting hot now.
Oh yeah,
You
let's
can
bring it.
love
Let's bring it. Let's bring it.
Let's go.
Let's bring it.
So
Because they
let me-
gotta hear it. They gotta
Yes.
hear it. The
So
people out
let
there
me
gotta
explain-
hear it.
So I will explain why I use the word fascism.
You guys play
Today-
shit. You're elite now. You're elite in our status.
I bring it. I want to debate this. Tell me
Go
if
ahead.
I'm wrong. Okay.
Go ahead.
What car did Hitler ride in when he was, or Mussolini, or any of those guys back in their day? They rode a Mercedes Benz, or they actually sometimes they actually ordered Ferdinand Porsche to build the Volkswagen, the people's car. Okay, they ordered him to do that. Just like the United States of America now is ordering companies like GM and others, and Audi and all that, to build electric cars. It's the same form of fascism. Do it our way, and here's lots of money, which is it's either an extortion or
Tax
a bribe.
money. Tax
Yeah,
money.
our tax money.
Right.
So they want to eradicate. And I'm just talking about cars for a moment. They want to eradicate the gas powered engine, and
He's a
want
car
everybody
guy.
to
He
go electric.
also trains people to race cars.
Oh,
So my point is that what is fascism? Fascism is when the government, be it state, federal, or county, or any government, collaborates. You could say the word colludes with private enterprise,
God,
like
dude.
the media, like big pharma,
Facebook,
like big tech,
Twitter.
like when the
Google?
government and private enterprise collude for an agreed upon endpoint, an agreed upon agenda, that's fascism.
Okay. All right. I want before you go, I want to stop because it just hit me.
He
right?
just Kanye'd you.
It just hit me. No, it just hit me because I'm just, watching the whole BLM shit, right?
Mhm.
And I'm just sitting down, wondering how the fuck am I getting a Twitter hit every time a BLM protest was going, anytime there was a anything that had to do with an agenda,
Right.
the media was tweeting it.
Yep.
Like how did you get the memo?
Right.
So is that kind of like some collusion? Could I say that's a smoking gun for some sort of?
Let me give you another example.
Oh,
Even this is not recent. This is like 4 or 5 years ago. Look at this up. Google refused to accept contracts from the U.S. Department of Defense to improve our American defenses by using the technology that they have. Who did they give it to? Google was working with China. This is years ago. This is not new. You can look it up. Okay. This is like,
Is this Googleable?
Like, yes. Well,
you have to go to
you
duck
gotta go
go.
duck
Excellent.
goose on that one.
So excellent question. Can I find this in Google? Because it actually deprecates Google. And the answer is, if you know where it was published, like, let's
Yep.
say,
You got to ask for the
it-
specific.
yeah, if you know the
Yeah,
URL, or
I
you
know
know the
that life.
publisher, or you know the news item, or you know
Yep.
the author, then yes, you can find it.
Mhm.
But if you're doing a generic search, you won't find it.
Mhm.
You, for example, the one topic that and I'm going far afield here, but one topic that I'm really that I have really researched a lot is CRT, DEI.
You just woke up.
Call
You
it
just woke
what
up.
it is.
You woke up too slow right there.
So let me
DIE.
right, yeah, DIE or DEI.
No,
So the point is that I have
Dymo.
I have researched that to a degree where I can say, and for sure, that in 2018, 2019, CRT was kind of under the covers. And if you looked up CRT, all you could find was something really good about CRT. Then you say, well, wait a minute, what about all the other things that we know are not good about CRT? Well, you can't find that unless you know the author, or unless you know the publication, or unless you know the video or the podcast or something like that. Then you can include it in your search, and then it'll come up. So I've done that, and I have a bibliography of over 100 articles and videos and podcasts, everything like that on CRT alone. Okay, written mostly by people of color, which they don't expect, but you have to know where to find it.
Right.
To your,
Do you see that as a problem?
Of course, it's a problem because the people
Is that
who
what they
don't-
did in Cuba too? Like
Well,
maybe they didn't have social media back
Totally,
then. They
yeah.
didn't have Google back then. I
No,
feel like.
but they just shut down the newspapers that there were. I remember the headlines of the newspapers. They just shut them down. I mean, they literally go in and they just take over the building and they shut the doors and you're done. And
But
that's it.
isn't
It's
it
over?
the government tells us that is the process? Like it tells you, like, look, we need to, diminish dissent
Correct.
so that you don't see what is wrong.
Right.
Right.
Correct. That's a collusion between what the government wants and the collectivists
Right.
in media or in whatever the industry is that want to collaborate with them for what? For either for credit or for social credit, so to speak, or for money, So you're not going to find a news organization that is what they call a mainstream news organization that's going to do something that's going to cut off their money supply.
But
It's just
Facebook jail.
yeah, but most people would say, all right, fine. Okay, let's go with that. At some point, someone has to say, this is what we're going to do. We're going to go ahead and cancel everyone that disagrees with us. We're going to go ahead and say, you can't listen to what is in disagreement with what we are saying.
Correct.
All right, so who is the head of this? There has to be a head person or head entity that says, you can't do this. There was a Fidel Castro in Cuba.
right.
Who is Fidel Castro in America?
It's not
In your
Biden.
eyes, in
It's
your
not-
eyes.
It's not Biden because he doesn't know what room he's in. So
I-
it's not him. No, I can say that seriously.
I agree. I don't
Biden-
think he has any
But that
comprehension of
when you
what
see
he's doing.
Biden, you're looking at Exhibit A of elder abuse. So put that aside. So
Dang.
then
Right.
it's not Harris for all the reasons you know. Then so
Yeah.
what's left? What's left is a group of people in the background that you don't see, and that and it's not a conspiracy theory. Obviously, those people have to have Biden and Harris. That they have to have some handlers. I mean, I wouldn't know what to do. Nobody would know what to do without a
Puppet
huge
masters.
amount of people helping you, right?
Right.
So in the case of Biden, it's he can't be helped anymore, and he gets worse by the day, and that's the normal process of aging. I understand that, and so that's how we have to look at it. And then
Why don't most people get that though? I don't understand
I know,
that. Like,
but it's
most
so-
people should understand. Like, yo, he's old as
It's the funniest
he's
shit
old
ever.
as shit.
This guy got the most votes in history
81 million.
during
81 million.
during a pandemic, and he is most susceptible to die.
right.
So continue on. Sorry.
No, that's okay. So
We got to rag a little bit on.
so
little bit on this guy.
Those people who speak Spanish are going to understand what I'm going to say now.
Uh-oh.
Listen carefully. It's like this.
Dan's gonna.
It's like this. Que mala Harris. Que mala Harris.
Mhm.
All the Spanish speakers are laughing their
Yep.
off now. Kamala Harris.
Mhm.
Kamala Harris has her own issues. I'm not going to go there. So my point is that there has got to be a group of people, and you know who they are. The people who are pulling the strings are people on the far left. Okay, you can name them. That's my point.
Because
So-
he ran on a moderate platform.
Yeah, that's just
though.
that was just a he ran on a moderate platform to get elected, and then he's governed by the hard left, as you can see it now.
But is that anywhere near what Castro did? Castro just came out and
No,
said,
he was just Castro from day one said that he was there to create he just lied about everything, and then
So
within
he
2
lied
years-
about
oh,
it, and
totally,
then-
totally, yeah, because again, I saw my father who I won't say adored Castro. I would say he supported Castro to a great degree, to even risking
because of ideology,
no,
or
just to
because he
just for freedom. We wanted freedom. We wanted to be
from what?
freedom from the corruption in the country. There was a lot of corruption in the
He-
country.
Okay, so he
probably
wanted
spoke-
freedom from
Well, we didn't
corruption.
know.
Yeah.
Freedom from corruption. Free
But it
elections,
turned
and
into
it turned into communism. So
Well,
with
that's
Castro.
how the transition between, and I kind of go back to Obama is when it was the beginning of.
you can't say that.
Well, no, I can, because they used the housing market as the housing crisis as a kind of a rallying point. When they spoke, Obama was saying all the right stuff.
Uh-huh.
He was saying everything. He was like, the Black Moses. He was talking about corruption. He was talking about, crony, capitalism.
Right.
Mhm.
You know what I mean? The bankers, and you had, I think, wasn't Occupy Wall Street during that time too?
Oh shit!
So you had
Austin will look it
a
up.
little after that.
a little after, or okay, so
Occupy Wall Street. When was that?
But even though it came after, Occupy Wall Street was a thing. So they had a lot of folks. Can you see little subtle similarities between that and
No.
what
Bush.
Castro did?
No, that Castro did it much more. But first of all, at that time, Cuba was only had about 6 or 7 million people. So it's like the city of New York, the entire country. Cuba is the size of Pennsylvania. It's just that it's longer.
So you say it was easier to do back then.
So it was easier to do back then. I mean, I met Castro. I've been in his presence several times, and his son has another whole story. His son Fidelito used to be my friend and all that. I won't get into. Yeah. So he has since died of some people say cancer, some people say he got he got put away. But anyhow, either way, my point is this: that was much more drastic, much more quickly done.
Clinton
But going back to when someone mentioned about Obama being a moderate, and Clinton, when Clinton was elected to office the first go around, I don't know if you remember this, by 48%, 48, not 50 or 51, because Ross Perot was the third candidate against the
That's right.
Ross Perot.
Ross Perot
That's right.
got 6 or
love
7
Ross
points. So what happened was that the Republicans would have won if Ross Perot wasn't in the race, but Ross Perot picked up about 6 or 7 points, and then that left the
Yeah,
Republican.
but do you think he took away from the Democrats instead of the
Oh
Republicans?
no, he took away from the Republicans. He was so Clinton won. Bill Clinton won the first time around 48%, the second time 46%. So he got even in twirl, but he got back the second time by going to the middle. He was smart about that. So he's a better politician than Biden could ever dream about.
So go to the middle.
So he went to the middle and he got reelected again. Okay. Even though he had lost the House and everything like that, Gingrich was the leader of the House and all that.
Because most people want balance.
Exactly.
That's what they want.
So yeah, people want some balance, and so that's how Clinton won the first and second term. Because both times Ross Perot, by the way, was a spoiler. He's the one that's why we had.
He's the worst.
Walmart.
Yeah. So he's thinking of Sam Walton. Anyway, so the point is that by the way, you know how Trudeau won? 39% the first time, 33% the second time, 33.4 to be exact. He won the second election in 2018 or 19 by 33.4. The rest, because he won a plurality. He didn't win a majority. He won a plurality. So then the other candidates, I don't know how many there were, got the rest of the point. So he's in Canada in office with only 33.4% of the last vote.
Not the majority.
Not by far.
Not even close.
Right.
Trudeau's so gay.
So anyway.
Jeez.
Just had to say it, man. I'm sorry.
All right. So where were we? I forget where we were now.
Sorry,
Trudeau.
you got lost with Trudeau.
No, we were talking about Trudeau. We were talking about just the elections and how they're just
Clinton,
more
how he won.
moderate.
Ross Perot jumping in with his big ass ears.
Yep. So that's how Clinton got elected, and that's why going back to the collectivists, the challenge that we have is being the divine sovereign individual versus the collective. Now let me explain one benefit that we have in the United States of America, and that's 50 states. Okay. Canada only has 5 or 6 provinces.
I have no idea what Canada. They have. See, that's the thing.
Mounties.
Yeah, they have 5. They have several provinces. I can't remember how many.
Ottawa.
But Ottawa is a province. Well, Quebec is a province, and Ontario is a province, and Saskatchewan and British Columbia.
Saskatchewan.
So the point is that I don't know how many, but let's say it's 6, just for the sake.
But they're all against Trudeau at this point.
Well, yes, but the leadership, the people may be against Trudeau, but the collectivists are in office, and that's what we're dealing with. Now, back to the United States. The beauty about the United States, we're not like England, we're not like France or Germany or Spain or anything.
Goddamn right.
We are. I'm sorry.
Goddamn right. Sorry.
Thank you.
I get really hyped up about how different we are.
So the point is that we can escape literally within the borders of the United States to another place where we get along better with the people in charge. Okay. Yeah. So That's why there is a huge migration out of New York and to other places, and out of California and to other places, which if you did that in Canada, wouldn't make much difference, and no difference whatsoever in England or France. But we have that option. Here's another option that we have as a result of that. I saw a headline today, 12 attorneys general of 12 states, the attorneys general of 12 states are suing the head of Mallorca's, the head of the borders. I forget his exact title, but the guy who's supposed to manage the borders, Mallorca's, and he's not doing anything. So they're suing for him to resign. I'm thinking only 12 states are suing. They should be.
How many states are there that are border though?
It affects us.
Right.
It affects us right here in Rochester. There are illegal aliens being dumped.
I agree.
Into Rochester,
What I'm saying is there might
dumped
only be 12 states.
So where the places that are getting hit the hardest are the so-called purple states, the states that are red now that could go blue, and they're doing it on purpose. They're
Minnesota.
They're letting all those illegal aliens go to all those states.
You're bringing up a whole nother thing.
Right.
I'm getting pissed off now.
Okay.
I hate what they're doing. I hate
so
that.
let me give you an example, a historical example of why we should be totally against illegal aliens. First of all, I am a legal alien. I came here with a passport and a visa and all that. But apart from that, here's my point. There's a guy named Hugo Chavez who lived in the 60s and 70s. Hugo Chavez,
I was waiting to bring that up.
Wait a minute. No,
I was waiting to bring him up.
No, you're thinking about Chavez in Venezuela. That's not
okay.
I'm not talking about him. I'm talking about a Mexican. Hugo Chavez in Venezuela.
Hugo. Okay.
Hugo Chavez is not from Venezuela. Hugo Chavez in California was a Mexican American, and he created the United Farm Workers. Now, at the time that he did that, why did he do that? He wanted the farm workers to have a living wage. What all the Democrats talk about a living wage. Okay, fine. He was unalterably opposed to illegal aliens. Why? Just do the arithmetic. If you're trying to organize a group of people for a living wage, and you present your case to the factories or to the say United Fruit Company or whatever the farm companies, and then the farm company says, "Why should I listen to you? I got a trailer full of illegal aliens who's going to do this work for next to nothing. Why should I sit down with you and even look at an agreement?" So Hugo Chavez, the farm worker organizer, 40, 50 years ago, was unalterably opposed to illegal aliens. And he's talking about his own people. He's talking about Mexican Americans and Guatemalans and all that. He's talking about.
They will call him a racist today.
Oh yeah, he would. He would. Yeah. So because he knew it was very, very simple.
White supremacist. Yep.
Yeah, he knew it's very, very simple. The math is simple. That if you have an unlimited supply of illegal aliens to work for next to nothing or nothing, then why should I listen to Hugo Chavez? So that's the kind of history that we are completely turning upside down. Excuse me. When we allow 2 million illegal aliens to arrive in the United States,
that's a ridiculous amount.
Yeah,
I still can't believe how many Canadians have not crossed our border and said, "Nah, fuck this, we out." So we're gonna go to America where they accept us and give us Social Security.
Yeah, man.
I just try to walk. Have you ever tried to walk across from here across the Rio Bravo into Mexico? Rio Bravo is a river.
Don't ask me that question. I would not answer.
What do you think would happen to you?
Oh, you get shot.
I'll tell you what happens.
They bust you down.
Oh man.
What do you think would happen to you if you try to cross? I used to, when I worked in Mexico, I was living in this place called Eagle Pass, Texas, and there was a bridge that went to Piedras Negras in Mexico.
How do you feel about that?
Right. So I crossed that bridge every day in a car. It was a chauffeur from the factory where I was working, and each time I got to the Mexican side, I had to get out of the car. I had to present my papers. They know me. I did this yesterday and the day before and the week before and the month before, and they know me. But I had to go through this process because that's their process. I'm respecting their process. I don't go blasting through their gate, whatever. I would have been shot to death. I was surrounded by soldiers and helmets and long guns, So that's what happens at the Mexican border. Okay.
What I'm bringing up next.
So
the Haitians was like,
right.
What the fuck are y'all complaining about?
Right. So now try doing that.
Horses and lashes.
So try doing that going north, going from here to say Canada. Try going across any natural boundary.
Canada would not.
No.
Right.
Have you ever? No.
Right.
Canada wouldn't. They'll stab you.
Yeah.
They'll stab you to death.
I hate trying
Immediately.
to get across Canada.
Right?
I'll be
Canada's
like,
the
I'll be
worst.
scared as fuck.
I'm like, I'm American, motherfucker.
like,
Nah,
you
dude.
want me in this
Right.
country.
And you can't say American when you cross into the border from Mexico to North America, because when you say I'm American, they're like, which one?
Yeah. Right.
Oh, shit.
North America, South America,
Right? Which
Central
one?
America, yeah.
Which
right.
one, motherfucker? They were like, well,
so
which one?
America is a short
Is it what
term.
I pay you?
That's why I don't call it America. I call it the United States.
Right.
That's what we are. In
Gosh,
other
I'm
countries,
right.
we call them Los Estados Unidos. The United States.
The greatest country in the world.
Yeah.
Right,
Ever.
that's what I think.
And
That's what it
ever
means.
infinite. So going back to the thing about the states, we have a saving grace that we can hold the line against federal overreach
Mhm.
by having states that can really push back really hard on federal on federal mandates.
Who are
So,
supposed to?
okay, well, some do it better than others. My point is that at least we have that. Okay,
Yeah.
whereas in other countries,
They ain't got that.
especially in Europe, they don't have a choice.
Right.
Whatever,
It is
whatever
what it
comes out,
is. That's
yeah,
it.
It is what it is. Exactly.
Thank God for Florida and Texas.
Yeah.
That's where the battle's gonna end,
And
guys.
South Dakota.
South Dakota.
Oh, South Dakota.
yeah.
South
Too.
Dakota's
There's a lot
doing
of
their
space
thing.
there. We got a whole lot
Yo.
of bunkers we can build over there in
North
South
Dakota.
North Dakota. Oh,
No,
Let's do
only
it.
South Dakota.
2 roads. Makes it
For
team.
real.
I've been there.
Have you?
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
busted a tire in Montana,
Uh-oh.
and that was the worst thing ever.
Just a
Like you had to
warm-up.
like go into town, literally go into town,
panicked.
and they're like, "Oh, it's gonna be a few hours before we can get a tire
Oh,
into this freaking area." I'm like, "All right, we'll just go to lunch down the street." Oh, it's fucking terrible. I thought I was gonna get ran out of that place.
I'm good.
Yeah, don't do it. Don't go through Montana.
Totally good.
Speaking of Florida, last year, no, 2 years ago now. Gosh, I
Florida?
forget. Florida. And I used to go to Miami a lot because my mother was still living. So I went frequently to Miami. And,
Is it a big Cuban place, as they say?
Oh, yeah, totally. Yeah. Especially. So you don't want to go there.
Or are
you
they
know,
just being racist?
that's full of Cubans, So it's a rough place to be, all those Cubans around you. But anyway, so I would go to Florida. But I have friends and family all over the place. So I can go from Amelia Island to Fort Myers to Naples to Miami to Fort Lauderdale. And I have a place to stay and people to see.
American
My
dream.
point is this. Yeah, American Dream. Oh, I got to get back to that. I got to get back to American Dream. Don't let me. After this, I'll get back.
Okay, I'll get back. I'll bring you back to that.
Yeah, thank you. So my point is that in 2020, we traveled all through Florida and we didn't wear a mask. Nobody was vaccine. Nobody even know how to spell vaccine. And it was
Two X's.
Yeah.
Two X's.
2 X's. There you go. So my point is there was nothing, but
Right.
Florida was wide open.
Wide open.
Yeah. I went from, I remember distinctly, I took a picture of Eastview Mall that was closed down tight, locked down, right?
Mhm.
And then I was in Dolphin Mall in Miami, walking
Mhm.
around like nothing going on.
Mhm.
The same moment.
A whole
the
different
same-
world.
That's right. So it was just so the
How do
American
people
dream.
not see that? I don't understand that. I really cannot comprehend how I was able to go to Florida multiple times during COVID and go there, go out to eat, go to the mall, shop, live,
Yep.
get gas,
Yep.
without ever once putting on a mask. There's places that are like, hey, we suggest you put on a mask. I'm like, yeah, I'm not gonna do that. And they just like, all right, cool.
Right.
What you got? What can we help you out with?
Right. So
was
that's how it was. Now I'm
a
talking
whole
about
nother world.
I'm talking about 2020.
Yeah,
Then
whole
again,
nother world.
2021. I have friends. I can show you a picture on Facebook. I have friends in Naples. They're my high school friends.
Mhm.
In December 31, 2020, they all get dressed up. They're all having a huge party at somebody's beautiful home. I remember they have on the stairway and all like that. And if they're listening to this, they'll know who I'm talking about. And the point is that this is how they roll. I mean, they go to happy hours every night. I mean, it's just
Not a care in the world.
And that was the case in 2020 and 2021 and to the present.
Yeah.
So then I was walking through the YMCA and one lady was saying to another lady, "Oh, you go to Florida? Oh my God, be careful, be careful, be careful." And I tapped him on the shoulder. I
Outta
said,
here.
listen, here in New York, right here where we're standing, be careful. Miami, you're good.
Yeah.
Because the people down there, they don't worry about the stuff. The cases. Don't worry about the cases.
What'd you think about
They're like-
AOC getting COVID when
Oh
she
my
came down here
gosh,
with her
yeah,
mask-free
yeah,
self,
it's just,
hugging everybody?
Well, the thing is that I won't get into it. It's just too deep. The topic is that historically,
Mhm.
I'll just make this one case. Historically, people who were sick or vulnerable to illness are the ones who are quarantined.
Right.
And then the healthy people go about their business, including taking care of the people who are sick or vulnerable. Okay. That's the way it has always worked. Okay. Suddenly we reverse this. So then, like, we're told that we who are young, healthy, not a care in the world, have to mask up and vaccinate because what? I don't know. But there's no right. See, that's where they don't. What do you mean you want to know? You're not. Just sit down.
You're anti-science,
Science,
anti-vaxxer.
anti-vax.
Just
So
comply.
the point is that
Just
I want
comply.
all I ask is a very, very simple thing. Let's go back to the sick and the vulnerable need to take care of themselves, and we, the healthy, will help take care of them. We'll go about our business. We
Mhm.
will build. We'll make food. We'll build stuff. We'll whatever they need to take care of them who are sick or vulnerable, who are in quarantine or isolated or whatever the case may be. Okay, that's the way science has always worked. Okay, now fast forward. There are people, the collectivists, who firmly and sincerely believe that you can get to zero COVID. Now, why can't you get to zero COVID?
Because we can't get to
knows?
zero flu or cold
Why can't you get to zero COVID? No, specifically. Do you know why?
because they won't let you.
Because animals carry it. You can look this up in the Washington Post, where they were treating
Yeah, they were talking about dogs that have it.
treating the tigers in the zoo in Washington. You can Google this in the Washington Post. Treating the tigers in the zoo in Washington for COVID-19. Now, once the COVID jumps from humans to animals, you can't eradicate it.
Mhm.
Everybody says, "Well, we did it with we did vaccines for smallpox." Yes, but smallpox did not go did not
Was that
travel to
airborne?
animals. Well, just
Oh, it
there's a
wasn't going
word.
through
There's
animals.
a technical word for when a virus is transmissible between humans and animals, and that did not happen with smallpox, which is how we were eradicated smallpox. You can't do it with any virus. Like
They're going to say
like
you're
the
spreading
COVID.
disinformation.
Well,
How do you
go
feel about
ahead.
that?
Bring it, baby.
Bring it.
Bring it.
I love it.
All you had to do is All you had to do is make that Washington Post article about treating tigers for COVID disappear.
Add that. Austin,
Right?
where's that? Washington Post.
Yeah.
COVID animals.
Tigers speak.
Dan has something to say.
Yes.
Nope.
Nothing.
Okay.
Nothing. This entire
So-
episode, Dan didn't say shit.
So I
talked
want to
about
get
Dan didn't say one
Listen,
thing.
Listen, when I get a guest that's talking truth,
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
I just
Let's
like
let
to
'em
listen.
talk.
I know that
Not
I
like
know
2 episodes
nothing.
ago.
Oh.
Oh, that's a different story. That's a different Dan right
So
there.
I want to get.
Right.
I want to get to the American
love
dream. I
listening.
want to get to
Yeah.
The American dream. Let's talk about this.
When we had coffee, I told you that I didn't want to get into
Affogato.
Yeah, affogatos. Yeah, affogato is ice
Fantastic.
cream with a shot of espresso.
That's
or
fantastic.
two
If
on
you
top.
never had it,
Yeah,
go get it
affogato.
immediately.
Yeah.
So
From
You gotta,
where?
you gotta
So
love
good.
espresso and ice cream. Those two things.
Do I gotta look it up?
So here's the point.
Go ahead. I'm gonna look it up while you're saying
The
this.
American dream. I have 2 million reasons why the American dream is still alive. Because some people say the American dream. Well, maybe I should take a poll. How many of you believe the American dream is dead?
I
It
don't.
will never be dead.
I
It can't ever be dead.
Shit, I
Right?
Take advantage of it every fucking day.
So
Right.
so here's my
It's what
point.
keeps me alive
I
and
have-
breathing.
I have Exhibit A, 2 million reasons why the American dream is still alive. What are they?
Oh, 2 million reasons.
2 million. We just talked about it a few minutes
Animals.
ago.
I see. I'm listening.
There are 2 million people who came across the border illegally
yeah, yeah,
under Biden.
yeah.
Uh-huh.
Why did they come here?
Right there. Lions,
Wait,
tigers
wait,
at
yeah.
National Zoo in DC test positive for coronavirus.
There you go. So you want to elaborate on that? Or?
No, I think that speaks for it. Look
We
at that.
were-
Look at that. Look at that lion right there. He looks like he has COVID.
well, we were talking about
They showed symptoms of coughing, sneezing, and a lack of appetite.
Oh my gosh.
well, we were talking while I briefly brought up the Haitian border debacle thing there. I mean, you would not attempt to go across a border
Like
if
from-
you knew your ass was going to get shot.
Right. You mean from Haiti to Santo Domingo to
Right.
Dominican Republic?
You would never cross
You wouldn't do it.
any other border except for into America. Honestly, you would never cross into Mexico because you know what's going to happen
You know what's gonna
if you get caught.
Yeah.
You're going to spend some time in a Mexican jail, and it's not fun.
Right.
Try going to Canada; they will shoot you.
Well, they're not going to give you a pot of FEMA created. What did they have at the border where Kamala didn't want to go to check out because it was
Their cages?
yeah, the cage, right? They at least got some space where they can get hot in the cot, some socks,
Hot in
and
the cot.
Yeah.
they
Three-
take care of
three
them very
hots.
well.
Yeah.
This is
Not
a
anymore.
very unique country, and
Yep.
I think it's time that we definitely start recognizing that this is the greatest
So
country. on
okay,
earth.
so what do you say to people that don't recognize that? That don't recognize how great
Well,
this freaking
Just
country
let the-
is.
let the science show you otherwise. That it is the people who are coming here that prove that this country is the best country in the world. There is nobody else invading any of it. There's no other country being
Mhm, nope.
invaded by illegal aliens by anybody at this point. Even today, even as rough as things are today, because they're trying to go collective.
Even as racist as we are as a country.
Exactly. See, we have all this systemic racism, right? So how is it that we have all this systemic racism
Right.
all over our institutions?
But yeah,
over our
all the people that
colleges
we are
and everything?
racist against want to come here.
Exactly.
Hey,
Thank you
does
very
North
much.
Korea have an immigration problem?
Immigration or immigration?
Yeah.
So either
Do you,
way,
but do you hear when they say that, when Biden says, China's Xi Jinping
Yep.
is saying that it is a greater nation because it can turn around ideas and ideologies as quickly like that because they have authoritarianism
Yes,
and
right,
totalitarianism. You hear him saying that because to me, it's like, what the fuck are you doing?
Yeah.
What are you talking? Like, how is this even a thought in your mind that you are glorifying this?
that's right. Well, because they own them. That's why.
I
They-
think
they-
Biden
they own 'em.
died like 2 years ago. We're just literally
Like 20. let's be
weekend
real.
at Bernie's.
He's been around for 50.
This is weekend at
years now,
Bernie's
I think.
all day.
So-
Somebody's
so-
literally moving his arms.
Remember that they have they have Hunter Biden's the content of
No, the laptop does not exist, and the emails don't exist,
Oh, I
nor does the
forgot.
contents of his
I
laptop
forgot.
exist.
Definitely didn't exist before the election.
Yeah, did not exist at all.
Right. Okay.
It was Russian collusion,
And misinformation, Russian misinformation.
right? That
So let's
we
go-
all saw now has come to pass. That was wrong, and it was Hillary Clinton that made it up, and we still don't talk about it. This is why I didn't want to bring it up. Because I get heated. I get heated about this. This is how ridiculous
All
we
right,
are
let's
as a
go.
nation right now that we don't talk about the things that actually are happening. Hillary Clinton freaking paying a company to spy on a sitting effing president
Whoa.
is now hurting us, now coming to pass. And on top of that,
Maybe
if
Bill gave her some more attention.
maybe.
It's
And on
not.
top of that, freaking Biden's son had whatever the hell he did to make that much money in a foreign country is now also coming back to bite us in the ass.
Yep.
I can't.
Well, what
I
about when
can't.
Biden
I
talked
don't
about
understand
the
how
kids
people don't
rubbing his
see
hairy
this.
legs?
That there is so much that happened in the dark that is now coming to light.
Right.
As a Christian man, as a man that believes in God, that believes that everything that happens in the dark comes to light.
Yeah.
America, this is coming to light. It is happening right now, immediately in front of us. And there's so many people out there that's like,
Yeah, but gas is $4 a gallon, and I can't worry about that
Dude,
shit that you're
I
worried about.
spent $65. I was an eighth of a tank still left. I spent $65 to fill up my gas tank.
Damn.
That is an abnormal amount of money to
Right.
spend
Right.
to fill up my gas tank in America.
Right.
That is not okay to me.
Right. Well, they want it to get worse. They're not.
Yeah,
So on that topic, thank you very much. You just handed me.
you're
another one.
welcome.
Yeah, you just handed me another one.
Yep.
On that topic, okay, we're talking about the collectivist mind. The collectivist mind says, when they hear you say something like that, and they say, "What are you worried about?" They want you to. They don't care that the price of gasoline or anything or petroleum products and any all the derivatives goes up in price, or even the cost of the goods to bring to because they came on a
Right.
petroleum driven truck. It's not their concern. So they're not even going to feign. At least there's one thing that has happened in recent years. I had my friends who said that Democrats weren't socialists. Now they are saying that socialism is the best. The same people
Yeah,
who used to
yeah.
deny it, just 3 or 4 years ago. Anyway, my point is that they're not interested in how long or how much it takes to fill your gas tank, because they wanted to hurt you to the point where you eventually buy an electric car, which is where they want you to go. So then you, so then
2030. They will not be in a single.
so then they want
gas combustion
then you say,
engine.
well, wait a minute, I'm driving an 18-wheeler, and all the rest of it, and all the reasons why not. And they say, well, they don't care.
You
They're
see in
not
California,
interested-
you can't own a vehicle that's like what, older than 60 years old or something like
Yeah.
that.
So yeah, so all of that. So you
Yeah.
can't debate that with them because they're not interested in any debate. It is sit down, shut up, and obey. And by the way, you will eventually have an electric car because, as they say, that and they want that to be solar and wind powered,
Mhm.
right? So then
Flintstone cars.
it turns out that the safest and most effective form of electric production is actually a nuclear plant. Okay, a nuclear plant. That is
Set
the
it
best
all
way to create electricity
Yeah,
at the lowest
absolutely.
possible cost. Okay, and it has no, it doesn't use petroleum, it doesn't use coal, it doesn't, and certainly more reliable.
But
than solar.
Chernobyl or whatever the hell they
Well,
say.
there were accidents like that, and there
Right.
were accidents in all kinds
Very
of ways.
few.
Right. Chernobyl was done under the Soviet Union, and you know all about that. So,
Heard of it.
so my point is that they're not interested in debating these things with you. The collectivist has a mind that says we know better. Sit down, shut up, and obey. Literally, that I just try to take on a collectivist and see what happens.
Dude, you
because-
can't get him on the show.
They won't.
Cannot even get on
No.
on the show at all.
No, they won't come because
No.
they don't want to debate anything.
No.
We can sit here and talk about, for example, we can talk about taxes. Okay, we can say, well, that tax is too high, too low, whatever. But we agree that taxes are a form that are a principle that works.
Yeah, you got to pay him.
So well, I mean, you need a public library, you need
Right.
a public school, you need a public bridge, you need
Right.
a public hospital. So we understand
The public good.
concept, the public good of taxes, and then we can all just argue about whether high or low or whatever. But we understand in principle.
Mhm.
However, we don't abide by, say, mandates.
Hmm.
Okay, that mandates have no function in our society. Okay, now you would have to do what Canada did, which is to compel people through a we keep going back to Canada.
Mm.
Compel people through an emergency order that everybody has to do what Trudeau says. But let me go back to a positive topic, which is the American dream. Okay, because I want to leave our audience, your audience, not my audience, your audience,
Your
with,
audience tonight. Go ahead.
Right.
your audience with some positive thoughts. Okay, so I'll just give you the bottom line. My parents, and it's all about my parents. My parents went from zero. Now, you guys have been, we have all been at some degree or another at a low cash base, living in our parents' basement or whatever, low cash. But nobody in this room has ever been at zero, standing there with a clothes on your
Poverty.
back and zero, no money
Right.
in your pocket whatsoever, not a credit card, not a social security card, nothing at all, called zero. Okay. My parents were like that when we came to the United States. Every Cuban immigrant was like that when they came to the United States,
So wait,
because you
buddy.
can't take anything from Cuba to
Right.
overseas, So the day that they decided to leave, well, they sent me to the United States first, but that's another side story. But I came along. But then when they came later, my father one day called a taxi. Taxi took my mother and my sister to the airport in Havana, and they left behind the house, the car, everything in it, every food in the refrigerator, everything was left behind. Now, it only took a few hours for the neighbors to figure out that my parents had gone to the United States, and they ransacked the house. That's what they do. Okay. But they left it behind. You couldn't sell anything. You couldn't,
Right.
You couldn't let anybody know you were leaving the country.
Right.
Okay. So they come to the United States. We arrived in Miami. We had a host family, distant relative of my mother, and we stayed there. And then it was around Thanksgiving time. My father couldn't find a job. He finally found something to do as a kind of an assistant mechanic, because he was handy and all that. And he was another Cuban that was being a bad man. And after a 40, 50-hour week, he gave my father $40, which is $1 an hour, and so my father says, we're out of here, because this is going to just, you can't reverse that. The only time the U.S. government gave us anything was a one-way ticket to Philadelphia. One-way ticket to Philadelphia, Miami to Philadelphia. When we landed in Philadelphia, we had a host family. So we weren't out on the street. It wasn't the government. It was a host family. And they took us in. We doubled up in their house. Then a church, Emmanuel Methodist Church in Penns Grove, New Jersey, helped my father find a janitor job in a truck stop. So my father started swapping decks on the truck stop. And eventually he started learning a little English, and they figured out, oh, you're an accountant. So they gave him a job as a bookkeeper. Then things happened in the company, so they laid my father off about 2 years later, and we ended up in Dover, Delaware, where he worked as an accountant, now a cost accountant for General Foods. You remember Maxwell House Coffee and Jello and Baker's Chocolate and all that. That's Post cereals. That's General Foods. So he got a really nice job as an accountant, but a desk job. Okay, just a desk job. He was not a manager. He was not. He was actually non-exempt, if you know what that is. In other words, he was hourly pay. 25 years later, only 25 years later, he retired in Miami, paid cash for a beautiful home in Coral Gables, and lived there until they both, died of old age. In only 25 years, he achieved the American dream. From zero to a retirement home in Miami, in only 25 years of work. Okay,
Hard
That's-
work.
sorry.
Hard work.
Yeah, I mean, but it wasn't like he was the one thing that made the difference. You said, well, how did he? The one thing apart from his salary that made the difference was that he bought the first house, and then they moved. My parents moved. I was in college by then. They moved to a second house, but they kept the first one, and then they started renting out the first one. And when you do it the first time, you learn how.
Yep.
Now the bank knows you and everything. And you do it the second time.
Yep.
And you do it the third, and so on. So they achieved the American dream by buy, hold, rent. Okay. And it wasn't a huge amount of money, but it was enough so that they traveled all over Europe. They traveled all over the United States and South America. They had a beautiful house and a beautiful life, and God bless them. They did the right thing the right way in only 25 years of work.
One generation.
I'm sorry.
One generation.
Yeah. I mean, but from the time he started to work to the time he retired was only 25 years, literally. And in all that time, and my father never worked another day.
Don't take
He
much.
didn't have to.
From when
didn't
he
have to.
started working in America to when he retired
Yes.
and was
25.
living the dream. 25 years.
That's all it took
in America.
in the United States, right?
But you
Could he have
never
ever
shit.
done that in Cuba?
Not to the same degree. Not, I mean, maybe, but I doubt it. There wasn't the sense of urgency there that there is here. You come here in the United States and you got to make it happen. And you know that it's not the government, it's not the country you live in, it's what you do for yourself. So again, there was no government help, there was no welfare of any kind, there was no assistance, there was no food stamps, there was nothing like that. We never took, the only thing we got, I can vouch for that, the only thing we ever got from the federal government was a one-way ticket to Philadelphia. And we never looked back. That's one of the things that, think like an immigrant. Don't be a victim. We have never been a victim of anyone. I have no oppressor. My parents had no oppressor. Were people nasty to him from time to time? Yes, because he had a thick Spanish accent, and there were some people who were racist, frankly. But that's okay, because they ended up in the curb, as far as I'm concerned.
They didn't dictate your life.
No, exactly.
your future.
They don't government. No, not at all. I've faced that. I have faced that from time to time. I can probably count in one hand how many times I have faced a person who I know is acting out of a different, I'll just put a different paradigm. Okay.
Nice.
Then, and it's like, your funeral, dude, because you ain't my way.
Right.
You ain't putting me
Right.
down. You ain't keeping me down.
Mentality.
Done.
Love it.
That's it. That's how we think. And so, every immigrant can think like that. Let me give you another example of the American dream at a billionaire level. There's a guy named Jan Koum. He is from Ukraine. He came years ago, probably in the 90s, when escaping the Soviet Union. He ends up, he's a tech guy, and he ends up in California with his mother, and they end up on like welfare and food stamps and all that stuff. But he's a techie, so he wants to get a job like, with a big tech company and so forth. And meantime, he created a communication, what do you call it? A texting platform, so he could communicate back to his father in the Ukraine, and it had to be encrypted because otherwise the government would know what he's talking about, so forth. So he created something called WhatsApp. WhatsApp. Okay. So by word of mouth, WhatsApp started spreading. And about 5 or 6 years ago, Facebook, what's his name? Zuckerberg, yeah. Wants to buy WhatsApp. He paid, I think it was, depending on who you ask, 15, 16 billion with a B dollars for WhatsApp to Jan Koum. Yankum, I think his share of that was 9 billion. The rest, it was, he's among his shareholders there, as a little company. That's an American dream right there. That this guy can go
That
from
is the American
zero.
dream.
He's another one went from zero to billionaire in in a matter of a dozen years. Okay, and that man is some people say, well, oh, he made too much money and all that. No. The ability to be an Elon Musk, who's also an immigrant, by the way, from South Africa,
Mhm.
the ability to be an Elon Musk in the United States is unparalleled in the world. There are some places where you can kind of sort of, I mean, you got the guy from Virgin in Europe. What's his name?
Charles Branson.
Charles Branson.
The
They're-
ginger.
yeah. So those though, but they're rare. Those guys are
Yeah,
rare in
yeah.
Europe. There aren't that many. But the United States, whew, you can name them. You can rattle off so many names like that can make it in the United States. And so, and when somebody says, well, we're systemically racist, what the most what's the word? The group that is most successful ethnic group in the United States is the Indians from Asia. They govern a lot of the
West Indies.
the West Indies, not from the West Indies. I mean from India, in Asia.
Oh, different Asia.
Yeah. So the Indians, what we call Indians,
Okay.
not the American Indian.
Red dot.
obviously.
Red dot, not feather.
Not feather, red dot. Red dot.
Oh, the most successful black people
Are
the West
Nigerian.
End, are
Are
West Indies.
Nigerian. Okay.
Well, they might be. I don't know. I think black Americans.
I heard it on the
are.
radio today
No, they probably no.
from one of the top radio stations.
You know what?
Locally.
That is I think that's a misperception because
Maybe.
because at the end of the day, a lot of West Indians are the most arrogant motherfuckers on the planet, and they swear to God they are just the best at everything.
Well,
But what I will say, if you go in California, the Asians are like,
Right.
you can come over United States and dominate the donut game,
Right.
and
Cambodians
all day.
don't dominate.
They dominate the donut, and they're just making fucking donuts. They're just making fucking donuts and dominating over there in California.
Right.
So where else on the planet can you do that?
Focus on one
No,
thing,
no,
kill
you
it,
can't.
Fucking kill it.
and
Yeah.
absolutely destroy an entire generation because you're going to say, my generation behind me is going to go ahead and succeed
Listen,
all because of me.
there's somebody grandmother right now in fucking Alabama
Right.
that probably makes the best cornbread you'll ever fucking have in your life. And I guarantee you, she put that shit on the market, she would bubble.
Right.
You know what? Probably, maybe.
Cornbread.
I would like to see what Kanye West does.
With
If you
cornbread?
ever come across Kanye West and what his gifts are besides entertainment,
Well,
let me know because I'm looking forward to him being on this
smashing
show.
microphones. That's what
on the
he
show.
does.
Okay.
Him and John
smack don't
Leguizamo.
work.
If John
Fuck that
Leguizamo loves to race cars, let me know because we need him on the show. But this is how we're gonna go ahead and jump out of this. Oh, the notes here, the questions, comments, concerns. We all knew it was Hillary this whole time. I'm sorry, we're way past that time, or else we would have came back to that person that said that. Jen, saying when my grandfather came over from Italy as a teen, built an amazing life from nothing.
I just sent you that. If you want to see that.
Ooh.
Well,
Ooh.
oh, the amount of oh yeah, they are. Well, they all live in Henrietta.
So much truth. Indian Americans.
I call Henrietta Indietta.
Yeah.
And I have full clearance to say that.
Because they can't use this. They can't keep saying that people of color cannot create the future that they want in America. This is
Yo,
ridiculous.
They have no idea about Indians. Number one, Indians are some very, very competitive.
You know why? Because when they go to
People.
college, they go for science and math.
Oh shit! Yeah, they don't fuck around.
They don't mess around. And if you don't, your
They-
parents disown
listen,
you.
All you motherfuckers out there with these food
that
trucks.
Reminds me, that reminds me. There's something called the success sequence. I want to talk about that just briefly. The success sequence is as you grow up, first you get your education, and then you get married, and then you have a baby, and you can have a house, yes or no, depending, but in that order.
Mm-hmm.
It's the people who reverse the order that just don't get out of Dodge.
I mean, have a baby first.
You can fill in the blanks. I'm just saying that the success sequence, look it up, success sequence, Austin, if you can do that for me, please. Success sequence. Yeah, I'll learn how.
Awesome. Look at Hunter Biden is not in that success sequence, as I can see on this page.
There
here.
you go. So success sequence it actually works, and
Yeah.
an extreme version of success sequence is by a woman who's known as the Tiger Mom or the Tiger Moms. She's an Asian lady who's like a PhD and all that, and how she raised her daughters, and that was a big thing about 5, 6, 7 years ago. Tiger Moms. So Tiger Moms just take the success sequence to
It sounds
to
like
a degree,
that. What's
right?
her name? That bitch. What's her name?
Yeah. So
From
I'm not
Tiger
suggesting you be a Tiger
Carol
Mom, but I am
Carol
but I am
Baskin.
saying
Carol
that it makes a difference. So
It's got to be in that order. You can't. Once you start messing up the order, you
Yeah.
turn
yeah, you might be able to make it. I mean, there's a
right,
lot of
but it makes it
single
that
moms.
much harder.
There are a lot of things. You can talk to Ben Carson and he had a
Holler.
single mom.
Holler out to Ben Carson.
So the point is that yes, you can, but it's much more difficult.
Right, you're making it much harder on
Yeah,
yourself
Exactly.
and your next generation
right,
of kids that
exactly.
you're trying to rear. Yeah, I appreciate you coming on.
Get the cattle prod out.
You ever seen Yellowstone? That's probably the only show that I've actually started watching.
It's a good one.
That's a good one. When they start
About
cattle
time
prodding
you
them.
Stepped out of your comfort zone.
Yeah, Yellowstone. My uncle told me. That's why my
Just
uncle's
can't
ghetto.
read shit every day, Jose.
Dude, all I do is read,
Yeah,
man.
you just can't
love
just
reading.
fucking-
I think reading is the most underrated thing you can do in America. All right, we all know who's
It's overrated today.
You're an ass.
Give it to me in a video or audio.
TikTok.
TikTok.
I want it from China. I want to be upvoted for twerking. That's
what I want to be known
it's
for.
disgusting.
So we're gonna start showing Austin's titties on our.
Oh no! I'm
You
seeing
see
it
Austin's
now.
face? I was like,
So he's starting to let
fuck?
the.
Oh, they got a mic
I'm
to
gonna-
come back on that shit.
I'm gonna do a plug for a friend of mine who has had me on her show before, Lorraine.
Do
Parr.
it, Lorraine.
Lorraine
Do you
Parr,
guys
that's
know
it.
Lorraine Parr?
Yeah.
No.
So Lorraine,
Go
I know
ahead.
she's watching this. 'cause
Go
she's
ahead. I'm
very-
allow this one.
Right.
I'm
So
allowed
in
this one.
March, I forget what day in March, but she knows. Tuesday in March, I'm going to do
Yep.
another show with Lorraine, and she's typing in.
I mean, she did
comments
see-
in here.
I
So
saw
thank you,
the
Lorraine,
question.
for having me on your show many times.
Lorraine's a she.
She gets down and dirty.
No, she's.
Just
I
sound
mean,
like it is?
yeah, but she's doing what we're doing, but on the radio. Like she's doing it on the
live
radio.
radio.
really?
on live
NPR radio.
Yeah.
Oh, they need that over on NPR.
Yeah, I was
oh
gonna
my
say,
That's
god,
is
they
she the
need
voice
that.
of
Yeah, there she
over
is.
there now?
Yeah, she said yes.
Hey, all right,
Welcome.
Lorraine.
Shout out to Lorraine. What you're doing over there? Because she's in the dirty.
Don't let Bill Gates hear you because he gives NPR a lot of money.
Yeah, right. Don't talk too
Mm.
loud. Don't talk too
Don't
loud.
talk
Love you
too
as
loud.
well, Lorraine.
Yeah.
Love you as well. I'm gonna be on there in April because March is gonna be overcome with my run for New York State Assembly.
The ass man.
Ass man.
Ass man time.
Jose the ass man.
Hey, we're
Let's
gonna get it done.
It's
We're
a
gonna get
side
done.
by license plate. You gotta get it.
Well,
Yeah.
Luis, I appreciate you coming on.
Thank you for the
Very
opportunity.
much because you spoke so many different truths that people need to hear these days. As many times as some of these people out here will say, "Oh, he doesn't know what he's talking about." Shut up. Shut up.
Yeah, it's
Shut
over.
up.
Those days is over. I think everybody can be like, man, we tired
You
of
would
that
think,
shit.
but there's so many more out there that are just like
They're trying.
they're holding on to that.
They're trying.
Oh, man,
They,
Dear
but
Lord.
they've been getting their ass whooped this last couple years.
they had to have been. The last couple of months has been
Months is
hurtful
bad.
for everything they've been standing for. So, Luis, I appreciate you and everything
Oh,
that you do,
thank
and
you. Thank you for the opportunity.
absolutely thank you for very much for coming on, and keep doing what you're doing.
Will do.
Keep speaking up,
Sí,
Proud.
señor.
Yeah.
Agradecido.
and you have a good night. And Austin,
Austin, thank you for your help. You're awesome back here.
play that funky music.
Ah,